Chandra is going to tell us about WP, CLI and stuff, some commands and all.
Yeah.
So Chandra, can you brief something about yourself and what you're going to talk about?
Yeah. Can you hear me clearly? Yeah, okay. I will today talk about the WP CLI and why I will tell you some reasons, not some, many, why WP CLI is the good friend of the developer and why you should use during your development day to day or regularly. Yeah.
And Chandra, where you are coming from?
I'm living in Gujarat. I'm working at RTCamp as the director of engineering.
Okay. Also, can you tell people a little about RTCamp?
RTCamp is the only WordPress-based agency. We provide enterprise solutions. We're working on many clients. You heard some of Rotimatic and other few clients. Yeah.
Right, the Rotimatic one.
Yeah, Rotimatic. Yeah.
Great. So over to you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Okay, so I already give my introduction to you. So before I start, I want to know how many developers are present in this room. Yeah, that's a lot of things. Thank you, guys. And how many you know the WP CLI or have been used? Right, great, thanks. Okay, so those who knows WP CLI, I will give some introduction, quick introduction, and will tell how I am using the WP CLI during the development time, okay? So first, what is WP CLI? Those who don't know, WP CLI is the command line tool for interacting and managing with the WordPress. So whatever you do from the WP admin, the backend, you can also do from the command line, right? You all love command line or you like user interface only? How many you like WP command line? How many of you? No one? No one interested in command line? Okay, after this session, you may like interacting with the WordPress using the command line. Okay, so for example, if you want to create a user, basically you go to the browser and then logged in into the WordPress admin and create a user and send a password and all stuff. What about you can also create the users with the command line. So you don't need to open the browser, you don't need to log in and stuff, okay? So this is the basic introduction to WP CLI. Then why WP CLI? So I will give, there are many reasons, but I will give some 3 pointers. So first one is performing any action takes fewer steps, right? So if you are using the WP, the admin from the backend, you need to log in into the browser, you need to open the browser, you need to log in, and then you can do the stuff like installing, activating the plugins, themes, managing the users, posts, and everything, right? But if you do with the WP CLI, you can have very less steps. You don't need to open the browser, you don't need to log in and other stuff. You can easily do from the command line. So it takes really few steps to managing and interacting with the WordPress. The second is the migration. So anyone have migrated WordPress from non-WordPress site to WordPress site? Does anyone have worked on that? Okay, so how you have did for the migration? Using WP Migrate DB. So have you write custom commands with the WP CLI or kind of stuff? Or have you used that pre-tool? Yeah. But WXR is from WordPress to WordPress, right? From non-WordPress site to WordPress site. Yeah. So yeah, you can, thanks. You can also write a migration script, which you can use for migrating the non-WordPress site to WordPress site. I have worked on few projects, and I really found it's really useful. And there is no timeout, so it's running from the command line, so it's take their own time. You don't need to fear it about timeout and any kind of errors. The next one is the background jobs. You heard about this, right? We need to do some stuffs in the background and then for example, generating the reports, right? If you have e-commerce site or any other websites where the clients need or customer needs some report, if you do perform the generating the report from the browser, browser interaction, then it will 30 minutes PHP timeout, and you don't need, So you can run the background jobs as well. For example, you heard about the WP cron, right? The running cron events. So basically, you can also execute the cron using the WP cron command provided by the WP CLI, and then set it up, set as a cron job on the servers. It does your job, so you don't need to fear it about timeout and how you can do the stuffs. So this is about the why WP CLI. And about installing, you all the smart developers So you can find how you can install the WP CLI. Go to this make.wordpress.org handbook page, and you can find multiple ways, like for various platforms like Mac OS or Windows or Linux, or you can use Homebrew and apt install, and you can all find out many ways to install the WP CLI. Now let's talk about the built-in commands. So WP CLI comes with the built-in commands. So basically, most of the commands which for like managing the post, creating the users, installing and activating the themes and plugins, importing and exporting the database and all other stuff. So I will not show you all of this, but a few of commands which I am using and I really found very useful, and you also found. So first is the WP code. Nowadays, how you download the WordPress for installing, installing the WordPress into the local system? How you download? Yeah? You have used this command? Yeah, okay, that's great. So you agree, like, go to the WordPress.org, click in the download and downloading the zip file for installing it and unzipping it, right? You agree? All of? Yeah? Okay, so using this command, you can simply run this command WP code download, and it will download in the current directory your latest version, right? It's simple using it. Like instead of like go to the WordPress.org and click on the download and unzipping it, run this simple command, you can download. You can also install the WordPress. You know, we are aware about like 5-minute famous installation, right? Which we do from the browser. You can install the WordPress within a few minutes using this command, WP code install command. So you can use that as well, right? So this way you can also easily manage your WordPress installation in the local development. The next one is the WP scaffold. So like any theme developer, plugin developer who do the developments, right? How you like, if you have like got like awesome idea and you want to develop the plugin, so you need some basic structure, right? You are developing the plugin or theme from the scratch. You need some bunch of files you need to do every time, like you need to create and structuring the stuff, right? So any theme developer knows _s theme base. How many of you have used that, right? Okay, so for generating the theme base, like initial theme base, how you do this, how you are using this _s? Maybe going to _.sme website, write down some files like theme slug and theme details, and you will get a zip file of the theme, right? With just theme slug, and you get a starter theme, and you can start developing it. What about generating this theme using the _s from the command line? So use this command, WP scaffold, passing the _s, which is like base theme, and your sample theme is like a theme slug, okay? So it will instantly generate your theme, create your theme based on the _s in your themes directory. So run this command from your WordPress installation, and it will give your theme. You don't need to go to the browser, and again, you can do simply from the command line. And you also, almost like when we need to register post type. Hello? Okay. When we need to register post type, we need to call the register post type function. We need to remember bunch of arguments and labeling we need to pass, right? But using WP scaffold, you can also generate a code for registering post type and the taxonomy, right? So it will give you like flexibility, and in very less time you can able to generating the code and generating the theme. You can also generating the plugins, right? So you can figure it out how you can use this WP scaffold. It's really helpful. The WPDB command. So currently, how you interacting with the database, like searching and exploring the database or running the queries. How you use like phpMyAdmin, agree? The SQL Pro. So any other tools, admin or SQL Pro or phpMyAdmin, right? What about you get this command, WPDB query. So using this command, you can simply pass your SQL query, and it will run that on your database, WordPress database, and gives the output to the terminal. You don't need to go to open the phpMyAdmin or any other tools, right? Still, I am using the UI, the phpMyAdmin, but in some rare case where I want like complex results or like running complex queries, and I need some better outputting and stuff. But using this command as well, you can import and export the database. Have you imported around 6 to 10 GB database from the browser using phpMyAdmin? You always get like PHP memory allocation error or like timeout, right? So you can use WPDB import command and WPDB export command to export and import your database. So generally, I use this command when I need some latest database from production side to my local development environment, or like production side to the development environment. So I use this command, simply just export the database and then import the database whenever I want. So it's like seamless, like you don't need to fear it about timeout or kind of stuff. Just run the command, it will do your job. So you need to worry about that part. The next one is the WP search and replace. This is really helpful. Like whenever we want to search and replace the strings in the database, we usually use the like tools, like, and then just use the existing search and replace tool. Like for example, in a PHP MyAdmin, just create a query and then write the stops and stuff. And like whenever we get the database from the production to the development environment, we usually need to change home URL and site URL, right? So that the database can work on your local system or any development or staging environment. So you can do simply search and replace using this command. This is like a simple example. The WP search and replace, it will replace the foo with the bar, okay? So instead of the foo and bar, you can write your, pass the home URL and the site URL, right? So you can simply do that. And it also provides basic parameters. You can also skip some tables. You can also skip the columns where you don't want to search and replace your data, right? You can also manage that as well using this command. The next one is a WP-I18. So like plugin and theme developers, you like know that nowadays your theme and plugin needs to be like I18 ready, right? Internalization, so that any users can translate your plugin and theme into their own language and then can use it with the WordPress, right? So, and for that you need a POT file. You need to provide a POT file in your theme and plugin. So for generating the POT file, I usually see the developers use the Gulp or like any task runner like build tool for generating the POT file. But using this command, WP-I18 make port, it will and provide up like a plugin or theme slug. It will create a POT file based on your translations, get text calls, and then just create a POT file within a theme and plugin. So it's really helpful for creating the POT file or updating the POT file whenever you update plugins and themes and release it. The next one is the WP package. So have you ever used any external packages? So I saw a few commands which is like comes built in with when you install the WordPress, but WP CLI. But have you installed any packages or have you used any custom packages for the WP CLI? Anyone? Okay, so the WP package is a command for installing some external commands. So which is like the developers develop just like a plugin. You can call the plugin in the WP CLI we call the packages. So any developer can create a package for the WP CLI which runs with the WP command and do some jobs, right? I will give some example later on. But using this WP package install, you can install the package which available in wp-cli-index.org. So this is the WP CLI index where you can find list of packages which are developed by some companies or some developers and for some functionality, right? And you can also install with the zip file locally, or you can provide a GitHub URL, and then from the GitHub URL it will take the package and installing in your local system. The next one, let's talk about global parameters. So global parameters in a WP CLI is the parameters which you can pass to any commands, right? Now, there are few parameters which you can use really. So let's talk about that. So first is skip plugins. So I have seen, like I also started learning in WordPress and started my career in the development part. Whenever we found a plugin conflict, right? How you manage that part? Like you in a production or staging environment, there is a white screen. You're not able to log into the WordPress, and you somehow manage to find that some plugin creating the conflict, and due to that, your site is broken. So how you recovered that? How have you faced any kind of plugin due to your site is break due to plugin conflict, and you have to remove or deleting the plugin from the plugins folder? So that's the one, either delete the plugin folder from the plugin so that WordPress will not load and your site is back, or either you can just renaming the directory so that WordPress will not identify that plugin and your site is back. But what about this command, WP plugin deactive, pass the plugin name, slug, and then just pass the skip plugins. So skip plugins is, will not load all the plugins installed or active in your WordPress installation. So this way you can deactivate the particular plugin by not loading all of the plugins, so that WordPress will not load these plugins, and you can easily do your stuff so that your site is back. Because like if your site is broken, it also, the WP CLI command, any WP CLI command will broken, right? It will not run because it gives errors. So using this plugin, using these parameters, you can skip loading. You can also pass 1 or 2 plugins by comma separated to the skip plugins, so that it will not skip. And in some cases, if you found which plugin conflicting in some pages, like on a single page or an archive page, and you don't know, then you can just simply pass one by one plugins slug to this key plugins parameter, and you can simply just check whether it's creating a conflict or not, right? Because sometimes the clients also do, customers also deactivating the plugin one by one and see whether the problem exists or is resolved. This way we can identify which plugin is conflicting. But using this command, you can easily do from the command line. So similarly, it's the skip themes. So similar to the plugins, it's also skip the themes for loading. So if if you are using any third-party themes, like or in a premium theme, and it's conflicting with any kind of plugin, or so you can just simply, you want to revert back to the default theme, right, provided by the WordPress. So you can just simply run this command, and it will activate my default 2019 theme by disabling or not loading all the themes, right? So this way we can, developers can use these commands for finding the conflicts, resolving it, instead of deleting the themes or particular plugins from the plugins folder, right? So this way you can easily use. This one is my favorite, the -- prompt. So those who know the WP CLI can understand that every time passing the parameters to the commands, it's really hard, or sometimes we don't know, we need to Google, or we need to run the WP help command to see what are the parameters are available. For example, if I want to create a user, then I need to know that what parameters I need to pass for creating the users, right? So using this command, it will ask for, it will prompt the users to input the values for each and every commands the arguments available for the prompt. For example, this one, the WP user create -- prompt.